Welcome to the Indie Author Showcase. I'm Chad Robert Morgan,
I'm not that. Hi, I'm Alex.
my reluctant partner in crime.
I don't want to do this.
You never do. That's okay,
Yeah,
because you're young enough that I can order you to.
not a good look. Anyways,
I figure I got about 9 more months until you can tell me to kiss off.
yeah,
Yep. And that then I go from ordering you to basically begging and pleading at that point.
yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So we were off last week because we were at
WonderCon.
WonderCon. What'd you think?
Uh, I wasn't at the booth. I was chilling. I was relaxing. I was exploring. I thought that was pretty nice.
Yeah, you ditched me on Saturday. You just pretty much up and left.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would consider WonderCon a success.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this year was kind of a different vibe from last year. This is our second time at WonderCon.
Oh yes, different vibes.
Well, I thought the crowds were very standoffish a bit.
Mm-hmm.
There was one person that was walking by our friend Todd Fonestock's booth, and Todd was doing his pitch where he's basically, "Hey, can I tell you about a book?" And this guy's like, "No," and he just walked by. I mean, he was so rude. I wanted to smack him. He wasn't even talking to me. Um, I do think that I'm not sure what it is, but I think basically the economy has got people with blinders on. They don't want to stop to talk to anybody because they don't want to risk wanting to buy something.
Mm-hmm.
This was kind of the vibe I got. I did talk to one potential customer that was like, I've been out of work for 18 months. I've been with she's in the, a producer in the entertainment industry, and she's like, I'm just flat broke. I haven't worked for 18 months and struggling to find work right now. So I just think in a town, because we are in Anaheim, we are in the entertainment hub of California, the Los Angeles, Orange County area. We are, all of Southern California is like one big city, really. We keep calling it LA, but we're actually not even LA County, let alone LA City. Um, but we are, I don't know. I mean, I'm either that or they're just depressed because, well, I mean, Orange County is actually kind of conservative
Mm-hmm.
for California. So they're, um, there's a lot of Republicans in the area that's probably happy with the state of politics. So maybe it's not a political thing. Maybe it's just an economic thing. I don't know. But it definitely was kind of a more depressed vibe. There was plenty of people, but trying to get them to stop and talk was a trick. They're broke when they can't afford free. That's usually a trick that I do to get them to stop and talk and do a sales pitch is, would you like a bookmark? And they usually pause long enough to pick one up. And then at that point, you can kind of try to do your sales pitch, right? Uh, one thing I would do is, would you like a good book to go with that bookmark? And I got a lot of laughs out of that, right? But a lot of them wouldn't even take the bookmark. And I was like, I printed like a box full of them because you usually give them away like candy, and I was constantly running out. Like when I did Monster Palooza, I had like something like 500 bookmarks, and I gave them away like in the first day and a half of a 3-day convention. Um, Now I have stacks of them because I couldn't even get people to take the bookmark, which is again, you know, people usually like free stuff, but at this point they didn't even want free.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So yeah, it was definitely a vibe. But I would still say WonderCon was successful because we don't have a full booth. We have a small press table, and that's only about $375. And we made well past $375. I don't think we did as good as we did last year. I think we did almost twice last year, if I remember correctly. But I mean, I think we were still in break-even territory. Considering the crowds, considering the state of things right now, I think that's still pretty good. So we weren't losing money, I don't think. If we did, we didn't lose a lot. Um, But like our friend Todd, who that's his job, right? Like I got a day job, right? I'm out there, selling books and doing conventions. Right now, it's a very expensive hobby right now for me. But there's people that go to these conventions and they go to these things, and that's their life. And if they don't make sales, um, that's food that's not going on their table. That's you know a mortgage that they're not paying. Um, so again, we were next door to Todd. We met Todd Fonestock last year at WonderCon. We had him on the show. We reviewed his book. Um, he was saying that this was not his experience in other cons in other countries, or not other countries, other states. Um, so that was interesting to get his take because he is traveling around the country doing multiple conventions. Um, what was your opinion? Because you were working the floor from time to time.
Um, yeah, pretty much. I mean, my throat was going out, so I contribute them not grabbing a bookmark to them not being able to heal me completely, considering I was dead silent. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, you were not the most helpful of convention
My
people.
throat had gone out.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm giving you that one. I'm just saying that um you know it's a viable excuse. It's a viable reason, but it still is the fact that I was doing a lot of the work. I wasn't getting a lot of support from in terms of the sailing. Your mother helped me set up on Friday, and God knows she's not going to talk to a customer because your mother is very shy um, and not very comfortable talking to crowds and stuff like that. So, and then like I said, Saturday, your mother came down with your Aunt Robin and your girlfriend, and you basically disappeared. So, that no. Um, there was a lot of positives with WonderCon in spite of the barely making any money. Um, one is that we got to meet a lot of the other indie authors. Not nearly as many as I wanted to. I wanted to get there early to meet the writers, but we were actually late on Saturday because somebody can't take a shower in less than 45 minutes. No snarky comeback, no nothing. Nothing. Oh, come on, you take the piss out of me all the time. Come on.
What? What? Just saying.
I just thought you were going to have some fun
No,
whippy repartee and
no,
snap back.
nah.
Oh, fine, be that way then. I know I'm interrupting your smooching time. Um, but we did meet a handful, and we plugged the podcast. We got several people that were more than willing to donate books, so our TBR list has grown significantly, which is good. Uh, the other thing too, and another reason why I like WonderCon is that we got a really nice big variety of books to read, not just because we do a lot of horror cons. We have a glut of horror cons here in Southern California, and this was an opportunity to get some different books. We got some. I think I got a romance book. I got some like young adult princess type book. Um, got a new sci-fi book. So I mean, it's just the idea of the indie author showcase is to promote and show off indie authors, not just horror authors, right? So doing something like WonderCon has allowed us to uh, get a lot of different variety into the show. And I will say one other bright spot of the WonderCon was I did get to talk to Peter Kleins, who was I guess he had a panel that he was attending, speaking at. So you remember Peter Klein's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Before COVID, we would go up to Dark Delicacies. By the way, you do know Dark Delicacies closes like this month.
I thought it closed.
I thought they were closing this April, so they're closing anywhere between now and the end of now, something like that. But yeah, I believe they're closing sometime this month. Dell, I believe, is retiring. Had his store open for something like 20 years in Burbank. It's a fantastic store. If he has yet to shutter his doors, I suggest you go out there. But before COVID, we would drive up there about once a month. I would drive up there about once a month, occasionally taking you and your mother with us to go to the Writer's Coffee House, where he was one of the hosts.
Mm-hmm.
So one of our neighbors, he had come down and was talking to him. And I'm reading his book now, and don't want to get too far into it because, again, we don't like to talk about books until we actually review them. We don't like to talk about authors until we actually review the work, because what happens if we don't like it and then we don't bring it on the show? Again, we only bring books on here for positive reviews. If we hate the book, we're not going to bring it up here just to talk trash about it. I will say I'm maybe 10-15% into the book, and I'm liking it so far, so high degree of confidence that it is going to make it to the showcase, but just play it safe. Not going to get too far into it. But Peter Klein was here to talk to our booth mate, and I looked over, and he actually recognized me before I recognized him. And I was like, he looks familiar. And I spied the badge. I'm like, oh shit, that's right, that's Peter Klein. And he looked at me, and his eyes lit up. And I was surprised he even remembered me, because I mean, it's just I was just some guy that was hanging out at the coffee house kind of thing for a few months before it was shut down before COVID, you know. But we had a nice conversation. We were trading some con information. I mentioned a few that he hadn't heard of. He recommended a few that I had either not heard of or hadn't tried before. So that was, to me, the highlight of the convention. I do really enjoy Peter Klein's work. I also really like the guy. I mean, he's one of these guys that's just a decent human being. You know what I mean? Like, he reminds me a lot of our friend Scott Campbell. Some people try to be good people, right? I try to be a good person, right? People like Peter Klein's and Scott just have this air about them that they just are good people, right? Like they have to work to not be good people. You know, it's just natural to them. But that was a treat.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What were some of the highlights that you got from WonderCon?
Exploring.
Well, what all did you explore? Did you see anything that was
There's a couple cool booths. I talked to
such
some.
as?
I know I like the Otis Alley a lot. There's a lot of there's a shocking amount of Pikmin I liked.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool. I don't know. I went to cosplay on Sunday, and some people like recognized my cosplay and took photos, and that was pretty cool, I think.
You were doing someone from Persona, right?
Yeah, Persona 3, Makoto Yuki, my goat.
Yeah. Speaking of, so I didn't get a chance to wonder too much because nobody was running the booth. But after the first day, I did wander a little bit after hours, and guess who I ran into?
Who?
Matthew Wolfe, the author of The Knife's Edge, like we reviewed it like 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
So that was a pleasant surprise, and I told him that we just reviewed it on our podcast, and he was like, "Oh shit, brilliant!" So he was really excited. But that was actually one of the nicer things. Like we talked to Cynthia Diamond. We met her at WonderCon last year. We bought her book and reviewed it before we even were really set on doing a podcast, right? Like I just got it because I'm trying to support other indie authors. WonderCon last year was actually the inspiration for the podcast. Um, so when I bought the book, we didn't really even have a plan. I'm just trying to support other authors and trying to buy as many books as I could, which wasn't a lot because, we're broke, but that's all right. More broke now, but that's all right. Um, but we had talked to her. Oh yeah, your podcast. I saw. Like it just came up on her YouTube feed, right? Like we never told her we did it or anything like that. Um, and she thought, oh, it was very complimentary. It was so great. She was really ecstatic, and she was there with a friend. She was running another booth, or not another booth. They were splitting the booth, and her friend donated a book for the podcast. And that was really the nice thing because we got quite a few donations, which is great because again, um, we're here to support indie authors. It is a little bit of a struggle when you have to pay out of pocket for all this. Um, but we have several donated works of art that's going to keep our TBR list full for a good couple months at the rate we're going. So, really excited to get through them, and hopefully we will talk about all of them on the podcast. Really excited about that. I can see you're beside yourself. You are just thrilled.
I'm very thrilled.
Yes. And you got an extra little bit of reading because we got an extra little book for you too that Todd autographed for you.
Mm-hmm.
You did find it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You did, didn't you?
It's in the box, so.
Okay. Just which box?
It's one of the box with the convention stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
All right. Explain why I couldn't find it. All right. So speaking of the convention, we did get a new graphic novel.
The one we're reviewing from the podcast today.
That's right. Care to do the honors?
Venus Rises. Is the part where I read the back?
It is the part where you read the back.
Mm-hmm. Venus Rises explores themes of power, inequality, and the indomitable spirit of humanity. It weaves together the personal stories of characters from both Venus and Mars, each grappling with their own struggles and choices in the face of a looming revolution. The fate of 26 colonies hangs in the balance, and as tension reaches a boiling point, humankind once again stands at the crossroads of its own destiny. In Venus Rises Parallels, siblings Demille and Ariana Onar find themselves ensnared in a high-stress struggle between power and rebellion. As Venus harbors the oppressed working class and Mars stands as the seat of authority, the echoes of long-buried conflicts reverberate and the sparks of revolution ignites. Ariana, fueled by the burning sense of justice, enthusiastically aligns herself with the Venusian resistance led by the enigmatic Kailara Marin. However, Demille, haunted by the ghost of his past, vehemently opposes her decision, putting a strain on their loyalty. As the siblings navigate the treacherous divide between alliance and dissent, Lieutenant Nathan Griggs, a soldier on the Mars Defense Directorate, relentlessly pursues them. Gear up for an interplanetary thrill ride in Venus Rises Parallels, a post-pounding graphic novel that catapults you to the future where Mars reigns and Venus rebels.
So what'd you think?
Oh, I'm going first.
Sure, why not?
I thought the story was pretty good. I don't know, the story was good. I think it was well written. The thing that most to me is the art, because I think stuff like the uses of color is really good because they use the color to highlight everything that's important, and everything else is just in black and white. I think one thing that is really nice is the face paint on the rebellion actually mimics real life. Because there was a trend where people did that to rebel, that screws up with facial recognition and all that. I don't know. I just thought that was neat.
We have this problem every time when we have to review comics, which is what we have is a slice, right? It doesn't really have a beginning, middle, of end because comics just keep going, right? We've had, I mean, and it doesn't matter the comic. I think Myopia was the only one that really had a beginning, middle, and end. But pretty much everything else we've read from Mask of Halaya to, Monster from the Monsterverse or, things like that. We're always getting like chapter 1, right? So I do think this is basically setting up the universe. Like this whole book is basically chapter 1.
Yeah.
Um, like there is it starts off with this one vessel that sees an asteroid, and they think they have some salvage. Turns out it's some big booster rocket that sends the asteroid hurtling. And in this book, that's never resolved. Now, of course, it's hinting that there's more to come. This is only the first chapter, right? You don't solve all your answers in the first chapter. So I was really kind of curious as to what that was about. And my big thing for wanting to read more was I kind of want to know what the rocket was, because apparently the rebels didn't have anything to do with it. Um, the Martians, seem to, so in this universe, we should clarify. In this universe, Earth is basically wrecked, right? And so the Elon Musk types have put habitats on Mars, and this is like your Elysium. These are your rich folks. For the poor schlubs, they went to Venus. Now, of course, you know that Venus is, temperature on Venus is basically hot enough to melt lead, right? It's nothing but acid. But they live in basically like in Bespin, right? They're cloud cities, right? They're up in the atmosphere where the temperatures are possible for human life. In fact, scientists have speculated that there might be life up in the cloud layer. Nothing can exist on the surface of Venus, but there is speculation that there might be some kind of life up in those cloud layers. So this is where the cities are floating in way above the surface of Venus. And that's where basically all the working class are at. And so this is a very class struggle type deal going here. So and the one character this threw me a bit because she talks with the hand, right? Because she's mute. So she's like signing with the hand and it speaks, right? I don't like what you're doing, kind of thing, right? I thought that was really clever. It took me a little bit to understand what was going on there, but once I did, I was like, okay, that's cool. I dig that. That was nice.
I think the color effects that go along with it every time are really good.
Mm-hmm. Well, like you're saying, it's all black and white, but he uses color sporadically to highlight certain areas. Like when she is talking, her text box is like kind of a lavender, reddish lavender kind of color, if I remember right. Like you'll see a black and white panel, but you'll see like a computer screen glowing in blue. So just a pinch of color to brighten up what is otherwise a monochrome page. And the art style did remind me a little bit of some of the stories I read back in the day in heavy metal. So overall solid?
Yeah, I'd say if you're a fan of old 1950 sci-fi, I'd give this one, a good read.
It is definitely not. It's less Star Trek, more Expanse, right? So you're not having ships going warp factor 7. You're not having Klingons or Romulans. You are, human beings fighting other human beings within the solar system. You have to deal with the fact that there's no gravity, and you're dealing with standard acceleration. This is very, very not what do you want to call it? It's not a space opera. It's not science fantasy like Star Wars. This is more Expanse 2001. More rooted in real world physics than the more fantastical things like Star Trek, a Battlestar Galactica kind of thing. So
yeah, I'd say go read it.
Yeah. Speaking of comics, before we wrap up, because our battery's almost dead, um, I did want to say that I did have a chance to meet up with our friends uh, that created the book Mask of Halaya. So I caught up on the issues. They are now selling them in single hardcover volumes. So volume one is issues 1 through 8, so you can get it in one big thick book. That I thought was fascinating. Um, Todd's book on writing. What's that called?
Rolling the Fly.
That's the one. Yes. So that was out. He actually sold a couple copies, 1 or 2 copies of that while we were there. Um, and our friend Scott Harper has a new book coming out, I believe, the 1st of May. So a lot of good books coming down the pipe. And in fact, Dicey Grinner just is published a short story as part of an anthology that is coming out. I would look it up, but our battery's about to dead. So next podcast, let's make sure we get all these names and dates and everything. But yes, definitely check out the new stuff from Scott Harper, from Todd Fonestock, from the people at Mask of Halaya, and Dicey Grinner. So we got some really good stuff coming down. Our next event will be the beginning of May at Halfway to Halloween in Jurupa Park, followed by Pasadena Comic Con, and then Monsterpalooza. And then I believe July, if I can get the vendor fee paid for, we will have Hotmare Expo in Fresno. And September will be Creep IE Aftermath.
Okay. With that being said, to wrap up very quickly, if you want to buy any of our books and or merch, that includes the new dildos we have in stock.
We have no new dildos in
Go
stock.
to shopspectreinc.com.
We do not have new dildos, but we do have a new book coming out May 2nd.
I would be more excited when new dildos, but just saying.
You have a fascination with dildos that's very unhealthy. I just need you to know that. This is coming from a person who skips all the sex scenes in the books.
With that being said, toodaloo.
What's the new book coming out?
Fear, Fear, most original title known to man. I'm taking the piss out of you.
Yeah, now you're taking the piss out of me. Where have you been the entire podcast?
Toodaloo. Toodaloo.
Until next time, folks.